This is one of them videos that's pretty tough to make. As the music world knows and us music fans know, the drummer of Quiet Riot, Frankie Banali, unfortunately passed away yesterday at the age of 68. And Frankie Banali was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, roughly around a year ago. Now, I remember seeing an interview a few months ago. It looked like he was recovering. It looked like he was starting to do real good. He was in high spirits. You know, from from what I remember from this interview. And unfortunately, from my understanding, he went into cardiac arrest and passed away. Quiet Riot's one of them bands I grew up with. It's actually, when I really narrow it down and think about it, Quiet Riot is the first heavy metal band I ever heard. First song I can remember hearing as a kid, yes, the sweet cover of Come On, Fill the Noise, which back then I thought it was a Quiet Riot song. And, it's a cover, you know. It's just unfortunate, Frankie Banali was a very good drummer. From anybody that ever met him, or any stories I've heard of anybody that did meet Frankie Banali, excuse me, he just seemed like a really nice guy and very generous to his fan base, which is, always admirable, as a music fan, you know, it's always good, that as a musician you pay back to those fans to get you to where you're at, And it seems like that's just the kind of guy Frankie was. I never got to meet him, unfortunately. I never got to see Quiet Riot live, even though I believe, I'm thinking here, it's around 2001, I believe. We had a little skating rink in the old hometown I played in, and Quiet Riot was actually going to play at that skating rink. It never happened, unfortunately, because I remember at the time, me and a couple friends of mine were really looking forward to going to see Quiet Riot perform, because it would have been really cool, to go to something like that in our little hometown where you don't get bands like Quiet Riot come in, you just have your bar bands or whatnot. It would have been really cool if it would have happened, it didn't happen, but it would have been cool. 2020's just been a rough year. Not only have we lost Frankie Banali, we've lost a lot of musicians here in 2020. I didn't research this, I didn't write this stuff down. I might do a separate video on this. It's just been very hard to keep up, because it seems like every time you turn around, somebody is passing away in the music community, or in the entertainment world in general. And being somebody that's into mental health and condition critical, and I gotta be honest, I'm not really familiar with the albums outside those two albums. Okay, Quiet Riot 3, I know, where they brought in a different vocalist. Or, I'm sorry, Quiet Riot 3 was with Kevin DeBro too. Quiet Riot 4, the self-titled album from 1988, I am familiar with that album. I just kind of went with what I've heard over the years, and hearing that the other Quiet Riot albums aren't that good. Maybe I should, check them out. I mean, I know Quiet Riot 1 and 2 that came out in the late 70s, but that didn't have Frankie Banali on drums. Those had Randy Rhoads, Kevin DeBro, who are also two other former Quiet Riot members that are no longer here. And on top of that, we lost Pete Wade just a week ago from UFO. UFO being literally one of my favorite classic bands. I'm really into their 70s stuff. Even their 80s stuff I've recently gotten into too with Paul Chapman. And Paul Chapman passed away a couple months ago too, who replaced Michael Schenker on guitars in the 80s lineup of UFO early on into, I believe he was in UFO till around 83 or 84. But Paul Chapman was another very good guitar player who had a different guitar style compared to Michael Schenker. But it's unfortunate he passed away. Pete Way, like I said, who was a part of Fastway, and he had his own band, Wasted, after he left UFO for a brief time, but he ended up going back to UFO. Pete Way was a tremendous bass player, He just had that really cool rock star look to him, Just underrated, man. Of course, earlier in the year we lost Neil Peart. We lost Gingerfish. It's been a tough 2020, And with the things currently going on in the world with the riots and the looting and people fighting over political views, which I honestly have been trying my best to stay out of all that. It's really been a hard year. 2020 is not shaping out to be a very good year, and we can all hope that, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel and things do eventually get better. And in these times, before I end this video, these are the times where we should not be divided. These are the times where we need to start coming together. We just need to start coming together. I mean, it's just very sad and unfortunate what's going on right now in society and throughout the world. And losing people like this, losing these greats that we looked up to for so long, should make us think, man, life's too short. Life is too short. Why do I have these grudges against other people? Why can't I just, try to make amends and get along with these people, or, move on from, the things that are dividing us as human beings. You know what I mean? But in closing, I just want to say rest in peace to Frankie Banali. Rest in peace to Paul Chapman. Rest in peace to Pete Way. And everybody else we've lost here in 2020 so far. Life should be first. Before chaos and division. You only get one life, and you should enjoy it while you have it, because you don't know when it's going to be gone. And that's all I got to say for this video, and thanks to all these guys for the great music they gave us. Thank you.